Hello, my name is Adam Levitan. I, of course, am the father of Jerry, and I am here at FantasyLabs as we continue to get ready for NFL Week 1. Rapidly approaching now, preseason games are live on DraftKings. If you'd like to dance with me, I have head-to-heads posted at every level for the Sunday-Thursday slate. That's posted, and I'll be playing just about every preseason slate, so feel free to get at me in the head-to-head lobby if you'd like to get between the lines. But today I'm going to be talking about getting ready for week 1. And one of the most important things for me in the offseason is to kind of plug leaks that I think I have in my NFL game. And that kind of showed up last year in my results a little bit, where I had a leak where I wasn't playing running back and wide receiver from the same team. And so I wasn't playing Devontae Freeman and Julio Jones together. I wasn't playing D'Angelo Williams and Antonio Brown together. And these were situations where they were both going off, and a lot of my opponents had both these guys, and it was really hurting me. So that was a leak that I think I've plugged. Another leak that I did a FantasyLabs screencast on before was just thinking or assuming that quarterbacks as underdogs are better plays because they'll have more volume, more attempts, they'll have garbage time, etc. And that's just not true. If you go back and find my previous podcast where I talked about all the QB trends that I like to look for, it's just simply not true. So quarterbacks as favorites actually fare significantly better than quarterbacks as dogs. It's more about efficiency. So basically plugging these leaks. I don't want to go into the season saying something that simply isn't true and letting it affect my decisions. I don't even want that in my head. So I recommend everybody using the trends tool, which is free right now, to keep looking at your theories and seeing whether they're true or not. So one that I had that came across my mind this week was quarterbacks when they go, West Coast quarterbacks when they go east for a 1 p.m. start. And I always assume that's a negative, that is going to lead to trouble, that we don't want to roster West Coast quarterbacks going to the East Coast for a 1 p.m. start. Obviously, that's 10 a.m. West Coast time, blah, blah, blah. So let's go ahead and test it, because I don't want to just say this stuff and assume it without testing it. So I'm going to go to NFL. I'm going to go to trends. I'm going to create a trend. It's going to be called QBs West to East 1 p.m. quarterback on DraftKings. So first thing I always do when I'm doing a quarterback trend is make sure that we're looking at starters. So I go to projected points, and I make sure the projected points are at least 10 so that we eliminate all the backups out of the sample. All right, so all these starters in our database 1,015, they scored 2.27 points above salary-based expectation. Fine. All right, let's start messing with our west to east. So obviously the team is the visitor. So let's go to team filters. We want to talk about quarterbacks on the road. So let's add that filter. That brings us down to 1.82 right away. Now let's go down to time filters here. And we have home team time zones. So the time zone of the home team is Eastern. And the time zone of the visitor team is Pacific. And we want to say that the actual time of day, and this is obviously military time, was 1 p.m. only. All right, so here's my trend. It's only an 18 quarterback sample size. But what we have here is 3.19 points above expectation, better than the average road quarterback fared. Significantly better than the average road quarterback fared. So this thing that was in my head about West Coast quarterbacks going east for 1 p.m. starts just simply isn't true. And we can look at the past results here, how it's happened. Blaine Gabbert going to Detroit, Blaine Gabbert going to Cleveland, Russell Wilson going to Baltimore, Phillip Rivers to Jacksonville, Derek Carr to Detroit, Derek Carr to Pittsburgh, all these guys. And here were their expected points. Here were their actual points. here was their salary, and here was our projection on them. And confirming here that the time was 1 p.m., visitor was Pacific, home was Eastern. So it was another bad theory I had in my head. And these are leaks that I continue to hopefully plug and test theories. And I encourage everybody to really do the same thing with any theories you have in your head. It's such a great tool that we have here on Fantasy Labs to be able to test assumptions. You know, people in a bar like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, I don't think that's true, but let me confirm. This right here gives you a way to confirm. So one thing I want to look at too here, just to make sure that we're on the right path, is let's just look at all visitor quarterbacks. How do they fare? Forget all the time zone stuff. Just all starting visitor quarterbacks at 1 p.m. So I eliminated where the game was played, what time zone it was played in. So that goes all the way down to 1.93. So a road quarterback playing at 1 p.m. and he's starting at any salary is way less profitable than those quarterbacks, those West Coast quarterbacks go on the road to the East Coast. So I hope that all makes sense. I've once again proved one of my theories stone wrong. So I will make a point not to let that creep into my game this year, along with a lot of the other leaks that I've plugged. So again, go through trends. Think about things you think while you're making lineups and figure out whether they're true or not. Any other questions, don't hesitate to email me, ajl201@yahoo.com. For Jerry, I am Adam. Good luck, everybody.